Hello again, students. Welcome back to our second session. Okay, we'll still be looking at the topic Introduction to Geography, but we will be looking at different objectives today. So the objectives of today's lesson are as follows. We will be looking at the relationship between geography and other subjects. We will be looking at the different illustrations that we used in geography. And lastly, we'll be looking at maps, the different types of maps, and its purpose. Now, before we go in details of today's subject or today's lesson, let us just do a quick review of what we did last time. So last time we looked at geography, okay, and we've looked at the definition of geography. We saw that geography is the study of the earth and its inhabitants. We also looked at the three branches of geography: physical geography, environmental geography, and human geography. We saw the different reasons as to why we study geography. For example, geography enables us to know more about places we live in. It helps us to understand the different cultures. And lastly, we saw that geography can be studied at a local level and at a global level. Local level geography, we are looking at issues on a smaller scale, issues on a national scale, issues that happens in our neighborhood. And global geography, we are looking at issues that affects the whole world. Now, for today, we will be looking at geography and other subjects. Okay, so geography has a link with other subjects. In other words, geography is closely related to other subjects. And these subjects, they are mathematics, chemistry, biology, and history. So now let's look at how geography is linked to these subjects. So the first one, history. When we are looking at history, we are looking at the study of past events for us to understand the present. Geography determines various events and changes that happens in the past. So for example, if we're looking at a change in a country, okay, such as Britain under followed the Industrial Revolution, geography sets the foundation to understand the reasons as to why Britain went through the process of Industrial Revolution. For example, a growth in population, okay, as a result of urbanization, Britain had to go through Industrial Revolution. So therefore, this shows us that geography links to history because it leads the way, it helps us to understand the different reasons as to why an event or something or changes have happened in the past. The second subject that geography can link to is mathematics. So in geography, we use a lot of graphs, okay, because graphs shows us changes, it shows us relationship that happens between different variables. So when we are looking at mathematics in geography, we can see that the concept is applied because we are able to read maps, okay, we are looking at figures. We also use different measurements, okay, in geography. For example, you will learn measuring the depth of river. Okay, so in that case, you can see that geography is linked to mathematics. The third subject, biology. Biology is basically the study of plants and animals. And when we are looking at geography, we are looking at how plants and animals adapt to its environment. So already you can see there is a link between geography and biology. The fourth one, chemistry. When we are looking at chemistry, we are looking at the study of soil formation, which we can see also in geography. In chemistry, you will see the different reactions, the different gases involved in the environment. In geography, we are seeing the same thing, okay, but we are seeing how the reaction, okay, affects the different natural features. Okay, for example, limestone is a kind of rocks, okay, whereby its chemical composition is changed when the calcium carbonate, okay, in limestone reacts with the rainwater to produce a weak solution that dissolves the rocks. Okay, so now as your first activity, you need to classify the following under the subjects related to geography. Okay, so you can see the different statements at the bottom of your screen. So what you have to do is you need to classify them under the different subjects that are linked to geography. So I give you all roughly 1 minute for you to do this activity. Okay, so let's check the answers. Under chemistry, you should have soil formation. Second, calcium carbonate reacting with acid rain, producing carbonic acid to dissolve rocks, okay, because these are all reactions, okay, and gases, okay, that occurs in the environment. Biology, we saw that biology is the study of plants and animals. So under biology, you should have vegetation, growth, transpiration in plants. And mathematics, you should have river depth. Now, when studying geography, we often use a wide range of illustrations. And these illustrations are used to better explain geography. So some of these illustrations are globes, photographs, charts, models, diagrams, and graphs. However, the most useful tool for a geographer is a map. So later we will see the different types of maps, okay, and its purpose. Now let us look at these illustrations in details. So a globe in geography, it shows us what the earth looks like and where the different countries, cities, continents, and oceans are located. Okay? In geography, we also use charts. Okay? And charts it shows us a visual representation of different data. So for example, this chart is showing us the processes that occurs in the hydrological cycle, okay, and it is in the form of a visual representation. This chart, on the other hand, is showing us the visual representation of the solar system. So you can see, you can better understand these topics through the use of charts. Okay, the third one, okay, or the third illustrations that we use in geography is diagram. We use diagrams in geography to better understand how things work or happen. So for example, this diagram is showing us the main features of a volcano. The next one, plan. A plan shows us what things looks like from above. It gives us a bird's eye view of buildings and other things. So I know the most familiar plans, okay, the examples of plans that you are familiar with, okay, they are your the bedroom, the plan of your bedroom and the plan of your classroom. Okay, the next one, models. So we use models in geography because it simply represents things, okay? And it represents things in a three-dimensional form. So for example, if you look at the pictures, it is showing us a volcano in its 3D shape, and the processes occurs in the hydrological cycle in 3D forms. Now, we also use graphs, okay, in geography. And graph, as said earlier, it shows us how something changes over time. For example, temperature, rainfall, population. So two important information that we need for us to draw graphs are the facts and figures. So there are various examples of graphs, okay, such as line graph, bar graph, pie charts, and scatter graph. So now let us look at the different examples of graph. So the first graph is showing us a bar graph. So the bar graph, I know that most of you are familiar with, is a type of graph that presents data with rectangular bars of different heights. So if you look at the bar graph, you will see that you can see the rectangular bars, and the graph consists of the x-axis, the horizontal line, and the y-axis, the vertical line. So on the x-axis, we have the year, and on the y-axis, we have population in million. So this graph is showing us the population of Shanghai, China from 1970 to 2015. So it is showing us a change in population from 1970 to 2015 in Shanghai, China. So the second graph next to it, we are looking at a line graph. Okay, and this type of graph, it shows us information that changes over time. We use this type of graph because it helps us to monitor changes in trends. So for example, if we look at this line graph, it shows us population in millions in 3 different continents: Africa, America, and Europe. So from the line graph, you can see the changes and you can compare them between the different continents. So the line graph also consists of the x-axis and the y-axis. Okay, so this is another 2 types of graphs that we look at in geography, or that we use in geography. So the first one is a scatter graph, okay, and this type of graph uses coordinates, okay, to show us the relationship between 2 variables. So on the x and y axis, there will be 2 variables which we will be comparing them to have a relationship. So the relationship can either be positive, negative, or in certain cases, there can be no relationship. And the last one is a pie chart. So a pie chart is completely different as compared to the 3 other graphs, okay? So a pie chart, its shape, okay, itself is different. Instead of using rectangular bars, it has a circle shape, and this circle is divided into different segments, okay? When added together, okay, when we add these segments together, it is equal to 100%. And the data, or the data in the pie chart, we represent them using percentage. Moving on. So earlier we've seen that the most important tool for a geographer is a map. So what are maps? When we are looking at maps, we are looking at pictures of the Earth's surface from above. There are different types of maps, and they all show different types of information. So for example, we have street maps, political maps, road maps, physical maps. But in geography, we commonly use political maps and physical maps. So physical maps are, as the word, it shows us the different physical features. So in our previous session, we looked at the different physical features, okay, such as rivers, mountains, lakes, and ocean. So the physical map, it shows us these features. And political maps, it shows us countries with their main towns and cities. So this slide is basically showing us the 2 types of maps. So you can see the physical map, okay, of United States showing us the different rivers, the lakes, okay, and the second one is a political map of Europe showing us the different countries in Europe with their towns and cities. Now, it is important for us to know how to draw and read maps. Okay, and all maps should have 5 main features. So the 5 main features of maps are the title, the direction, the scale, the key, and the frame. So now, if we look at this map, okay, we can immediately identify the 5 features of maps. So the first one is the title, and the purpose of the title is to show what the map is about. We can also see the direction. The direction is an arrow to show where the north is. The scale, okay, label on the map, it shows us the distance on a map. Okay, also you can see the key. The key is to show what the symbols mean. And lastly, the frame. The frame is a neat rule line around the map, okay, or that surrounds the map. So now, as your second activity, you have to identify the 5 different features on the map. Okay, so the 5 different features: title, key, scale, frame, and direction. You have to identify them on the map. So I give you roughly 30 seconds for you to identify these 5 features. Okay, so let's check the answers. So the title, you can see it's Nevron map. The key, okay, it is represented in colors. It shows us each colors what it is representing. You have the direction, an arrow showing us where the north is. You can see the frame, the neat rule line, okay, around the map. And you can see the scale to show the distance on the map. So uses of maps. Maps are used by different people depending on their environment. So maps are used in daily work duties. For example, a travel agent selling a country or promoting a package, 2 packages, will show his or her customers a map of the country, of the different attractions, okay, that are located in the country. A taxi driver, okay, will use a map to reach his or her customers, and then will take the customers to their destination. Maps are also used by people on holidays, for example, tourists going on hikes. Additionally, we use maps for, to show or to give us the best routes to get to different places. And we also use maps in decision making. So for example, the government officials, let's say they are building a dam, they will use a physical map so that they can have an idea where the different rivers are flowing. Now, having come to an end of today's session, okay, we have able to establish different points. We've looked at the link between geography and other subjects. We've looked at the different illustrations that we use in geography. And lastly, we've looked at maps, the different features of geography, and why we use maps. So students, we have now reached the end of today's session. Thank you. Stay safe and take care.